Could it really be true? Has SASSA finally increased the SRD grant to R400? If you're one of the millions relying on that monthly R350 to help you get by, then you already know how far every single rand needs to stretch. That tiny increase could mean a full loaf of bread, an extra bottle of cooking oil, or even just a little peace of mind at the end of a stressful month. And now, word is spreading that the R350 we've known for years might finally be getting a boost. But is it just talk, or is this the real deal? In this video, we're digging deep into what's really going on with the SASSA SRD grant increase, what's been officially confirmed, and what you can expect next. We'll uncover the new payment dates for the coming months, break down exactly who qualifies under the updated rules, and explain why this change could be more important than ever, especially if you've been feeling the pressure of rising costs and shrinking income. This isn't just another headline. It's your money, your stability, and your right to know what's really happening with your support. And if you've ever wondered, will I still qualify, or when will the money hit my account? You're in the right place, because we've got answers. Clear, accurate, and straight from the source. So don't go anywhere. Stick with me for a few minutes, because this isn't just an update, it's a must-know moment that could impact your life directly. And if you find this information helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss an important update, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear if this increase would make a real difference for you. Let's get into it, because this R400 update might be more than just a rumor, it could be your reality. Alright, now that we've got your attention and set the stage, let's break everything down clearly and simply, just like we're having a good chat over a warm cup of tea. Because when it comes to the SASSA SRD grant, and especially talk about increases, new payment dates, and qualification changes, it can feel overwhelming. But don't worry. You're not alone, and we're going to go through every part together, step by step, so that by the end of this video, you'll feel confident, informed, and even a little hopeful. Let's start with the buzz that's got everyone talking, the SRD grant possibly increasing to R400. For years, we've been dealing with that familiar R350 amount. It's become a fixed number in the minds of millions of South Africans who depend on it every single month. But if you felt like that amount just doesn't go as far as it used to, you're absolutely right. With prices going up across the board, groceries, electricity, transport, even basic medicine, that R350 has started to feel more like R200. And government officials have finally started to acknowledge that. For a long time, there's been pressure from advocacy groups and citizens alike, urging SASSA and the Department of Social Development to review the amount and offer something that actually meets people's current needs. That's why this R400 news is so important. It's not just about the extra 50 rand, it's about the message behind it. It tells us that the system might finally be adjusting to the real cost of living. And while it may not sound like a huge jump, when you think about how many people rely on this grant, even a small increase can lead to a big impact. That extra 50 could be the difference between having enough to make a proper meal at the end of the week or having to skip. For some, it might help cover transport to look for work, or finally afford that item they've been delaying for months. It's not just a number, it's a lifeline. Now, let's talk about what we know so far. Officially, the government has confirmed that adjustments to the SRD grant are being considered and that R400 is the figure being actively discussed. While some sources claim the increase is already approved, others say it's still under review, but the overwhelming consensus is that a change is definitely coming, and May 2025 could be the first month where beneficiaries start to see the new amount. Several news outlets have reported that Treasury has made room in the national budget to support the increase, and that means we're closer than ever to seeing it implemented. But what does this mean for you, and how do you know if you'll actually receive R400 instead of R350? Well, this is where things get a bit technical. You see, the SRD grant isn't automatically distributed to everyone every month. It's not like the older person's grant or the disability grant, where recipients are already registered and locked in. The SRD grant, because it's meant as temporary relief, comes with monthly reassessments. That means you need to be eligible every month you apply. So even if the amount changes to R400, you'll still need to meet the criteria to receive it. And yes, that part can be frustrating. People often ask, why did I get the grant last month, but not this one? And the answer usually lies in income assessment. SASSA checks bank accounts and other data to see if you've received any income recently, even something as small as R500 from a family member. If they see that, they might reject your application even if you're still struggling. That's why staying informed is crucial. Knowing the rules, understanding how they assess eligibility, and keeping an eye on payment announcements can help you avoid unnecessary stress. Now, regarding the payment schedule for May 2025, SASSA has released preliminary dates, and while they can shift slightly depending on your payment method or provider, the general rollout starts early in the month. Typically, payments begin in the first week, with electronic transfers processed first. If you receive your funds through a bank account, you're likely to see it appear sooner, sometimes as early as the second or third of the month. For those collecting through retailers or the post office, it might take a day or two longer. But the key takeaway here is that you should always monitor your balance and messages around that time. Don't panic if you don't see the money on the first day. Delays happen, and as long as you're approved, it will reflect soon after. Speaking of approvals, here's something important that many people overlook. You have to check your SASSA status each month to ensure you've been approved. A lot of people assume that once they're in the system, the money will just keep coming. Unfortunately, that's not how the SRD grant works. You need to reconfirm your application or make sure your existing details are accurate and up to date. If you change your phone number, banking details, or even your physical address, that can delay or block your payment. And with the system being more automated than ever, there's less room for human error, but also fewer chances for exceptions. So double check everything, even if you've done it before. Now, let's shift to eligibility, because that's the other big piece of the puzzle. With talk of increases and new payment structures, a lot of people are asking whether the rules will change too. So far, the core requirements remain the same. You must be a South African citizen, over the age of 18, unemployed, and not receiving any other form of social grant or youth payment. But there's growing pressure on SASSA to relax these rules slightly, especially for those who earn small amounts from informal work or once-off payments. The current system can be very strict, and that leaves out people who still desperately need help. There's also talk about expanding eligibility to include caregivers and people living in households with multiple dependents. That conversation is still ongoing, but it reflects the reality that the pandemic's impact didn't just vanish, it lingered, and many families are still recovering financially. That's why the increase to R400 is being seen as a step toward a more permanent basic income grant in the future. In fact, some policy experts are calling for the SRD grant to become a fixed part of the social assistance landscape in South Africa, not just the temporary support. And if that happens, it could bring even more positive changes, like predictable increases each year tied to inflation, expanded access for more vulnerable groups, and faster payment processing systems. But that's the future. Let's come back to the present for a moment. Because if you're watching this video, chances are you want to know what's happening right now, in May 2025. And right now, all signs point to a turning point. The R400 figure is more than a rumor, it's a strong possibility, and preparations are already in motion. So what can you do today to make sure you're ready? First, check your status on the SASSA website or the WhatsApp channel. Make sure your banking information is correct. If you're using someone else's account, remember that it might affect your approval status. Ideally, use an account in your name to avoid confusion. If you're collecting cash at a retailer, check with the store about which days they're issuing SRD payments, it can vary. Also, be aware of scams. Every time there's an update or change to a grant, scammers come out in full force. They'll send fake SMS messages, emails, or even call pretending to be from SASSA, asking for your ID number or banking details. Never give out that information over the phone. SASSA will never ask you for your PIN or password. If something feels off, report it immediately. Lastly, take a moment to share this video with others. So many people miss out on payments or don't know about increases simply because they weren't told. You can be the person who helps someone else get what they're entitled to. Maybe it's a neighbor, a relative, or even someone you met in line at the grocery store. Information is power, and when we help each other stay informed, we all benefit. So let's recap where we are. The SRD grant increase to R400 is looking more and more real, with May 2025 likely being the month it rolls out. Payment schedules have been shared, and while they may vary slightly, you can expect your funds early in the month if everything's in order. Eligibility rules are still the same, but there's hope for broader access in the future. And if you stay updated, check your status, and protect your personal information, you'll be in the best possible position to receive your grant without delay. This might seem like a small change, but it's a big deal for millions of people across South Africa. And whether it's your first time applying, or you've been receiving the SRD for months, this increase could make life just a bit easier, and in these times, that means everything. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. If this video helped you understand the SRD changes better, do me a favor, hit that like button so more people can find it. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we are always bringing you updates as they happen. And leave a comment below, let me know if you've received your May grant, or if you've seen the new R400 amount reflected yet. Your voice matters, and your story might help someone else out there who's still trying to figure it all out. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and remember, you deserve support, dignity, and the truth. And that's exactly what we are here to provide.